An introduction to the 7-Minute Daily Focus Part 7, Modern Scientific Confirmation, Dr Michael Egnor, based on his work, The Immortal Mind, Egnor O'Leary, 2025. Modern science has entered a new era, one in which the limitations of materialism are being exposed and the reality of the metaphysical is becoming undeniable. Few voices illustrate this shift more clearly than Dr Michael Egnor, a neurosurgeon with over 40 years of clinical experience. What makes Egnor's contribution extraordinary is not merely his scholarship, but his transformation. At the beginning of his career, he accepted the common assumption, the brain produces the mind. Decades of neurosurgical practice revealed a truth he could not ignore. The mind cannot be reduced to the brain, the evidence for the metaphysical mind. Egnor observed a fundamental difference between thoughts and matter. Thoughts have no mass. Thoughts have no spatial location. Thoughts have no measurable physical properties. Thoughts can exist without any direct correlation to brain changes. In other words, thoughts behave like metaphysical realities, not physical ones. The concept of thought here aligns perfectly with the principle of thought in the 7-Minute Daily Focus. Thought is metaphysical actuality, the source, not the product. The mind-brain distinction, Egnor concluded that consciousness is not an output of the brain's biology. Instead, the mind uses the brain as an instrument. The heart is the seat of thought. The metaphysical self is primary. The brain is secondary. The brain is a receiver and translator, not a generator. This mirrors Descartes' insight and elevates it into the 21st century. Where Descartes could only reason, Egnor presents clinical neurological evidence. His findings support my foundational teachings. Reality begins in the metaphysical realm. The physical reports it. Why this matters for the 7-Minute Daily Focus. The Daily Focus system is built on the principle that thought is real, actuality is complete, appearance translates the inner state. The physical world follows metaphysical instruction. Modern neuroscience now confirms the plausibility of this structure. When you hold a thought, you are not manipulating energy or creating possibilities. You are acknowledging metaphysical actuality, the truth behind all physical form. The brain does not make thought true. Thought makes the brain respond. The convergence of philosophy, metaphysics, and science. With Egnor's work, a full circle closes. Socrates pointed inward. Plato recognized metaphysical originals. Descartes identified thought as essence. Egnor scientifically confirms the metaphysical mind's presence. This unified insight strengthens the foundation of the 7-Minute Daily Focus. Reality is metaphysical first. Thought is actuality. Focus stabilizes translation. Appearance reports truth. A final reflection. You are not a biological accident learning to think. You are a metaphysical being whose thoughts shape the physical world you walk in. The 7-Minute Daily Focus is the practice of recognizing this, daily, deliberately, and with increasing clarity. You are the thinker. Thought is reality. Reality appears through you. I think it is essential for me to expand this final principle. It is an extra premium to understand what modern science is actually confirming, even though metaphysical reality is not subject to science. It is not merely suggesting that the mind and brain are different. It is revealing that causation itself does not belong to matter. Matter responds. Matter translates, matter expresses, but it does not originate meaning, intention, or direction. Dr. Egnor's work exposes a quiet assumption that has dominated modern culture, that if something cannot be measured, it must not be real. Yet the most decisive elements of human life, thought, intention, identity, purpose, remain entirely immeasurable. They have no weight, no size, no location, and yet they govern everything. Neurosurgery places a human being at the precise intersection of matter and consciousness. If thought were merely chemical, damage to the brain would always destroy meaning, identity, and awareness. Yet again and again, Egnor encountered cases where meaning persisted despite physical impairment, and cases where physical normality did not guarantee coherent thought. This observation leads to an unavoidable conclusion. The brain participates in thought, but it does not produce it. It is an interface, a biological instrument through which metaphysical reality expresses itself in the physical world. This directly supports the teaching of translation. The brain does not generate reality, it translates reality. Thought instructs, the brain responds, and the physical world reports. This also reframes responsibility and power. If thought were produced by matter, human beings would be victims of chemistry. But if thought precedes matter, then awareness carries authority. You are not controlled by the brain, you use the brain. This restores a sense of one's worth to the human being. You are not a biological accident navigating chaos. You are a metaphysical being operating within physical form. Your thoughts are not reactions, they are instructions. This is why the 7-minute daily focus is not just a motivational focused exercise. It is a deliberate act of alignment with how reality actually functions. When science and philosophy, metaphysical, converge, a single design becomes physically visible. Reality is ordered from the inside outward. Consciousness leads. Physical form follows. The ancient philosophers intuited this truth. Modern neuroscience now confirms its plausibility. And this work provides the daily practice through which it becomes a lived experience. This is the completion of the 7-part foundation of an introduction to the 7-minute daily focus. It is not requesting you to believe anything new. It invites you to recognize what has always been true, what is already present within you. The 7-minute daily focus is therefore not about change, improvement, or becoming something else. It is about recognizing who you already are and allowing the physical world to reorganize itself around that recognition. Thought is not produced. Thought is perceived. Thought is held. Thought is translated. And when thought is held in clarity, physical reality has no choice but to appear. This is E.L. Graham. Looking forward to meeting you on the 7-minute daily focus, day 1 of 365.